What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. And before I get started, I want to ask you guys something. What you think of this? Think of the new shirt? Got this for Christmas. But with that being said, let's get started. If you haven't, before I get started with today's review, if you haven't already, be sure to check out my review on my top 10 favorite matches from AEW of 2021. But today, sorry I'm late, but today I am doing a review on my top 10 favorite WWE matches of 2021. And before I go any further, let me just say I'm doing this in the middle of the night. It's around morning time. It'll probably be sometime around 1 a.m. when this comes out. So this is in the middle of the night, which is why I'm speaking softly, because if this were during the day, I would be screaming at the fact that Tony Storm has been released. Y'all better be glad I got some people in this house sleep, because I scream. Oh, oh God, I'm just, Lord have mercy, don't let me lose my cool. Help me keep my cool, Lord. Either way, let's get on with my top 10 favorite WWE matches, starting at number 1. Where are my manners? We start at number 10. This is Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver. I believe this was, I don't know which day it was, but I do remember doing a review on this earlier this year. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a good match between Raquel and Io Shirai. And just to show you the type of champion Io Shirai was, Io challenged Raquel. Raquel did not challenge Io. Io challenged Raquel. And boy, did those two put on an amazing show, an amazing match. And the highlight of that match, in my personal opinion, was when Io Shirai, being the genius of the sky, flew from the top of the stage onto Raquel. But that wasn't enough to keep her down, as it was Raquel who would win that match, winning the Women's Championship. And I can't believe she lost it to Mandy. But that was thanks to her backstabbing friend, Dakota Kai. You can't trust Dakota as a friend. But nonetheless, it was a great match. Speaking of Stand and Deliver, that takes me to number 9. We have Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross before he was released at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 2. The audience was just starting to come back, and that was a great match also. And I don't think I remember anyone kicking out of Finn Balor's coup de grace, but Karrion Kross did it. And he would go on to become the most unstoppable NXT champion, which is why a lot of people did not understand why he went to Raw and got embarrassed on his first night, as much as everyone loved Jeff Hardy. But he kind of caught on for a little bit and started beating Keith Lee, even though they would trade victories. He would go on to defeat a couple of jobbers before getting released, along with the latex wearing Scarlett. But nonetheless, that NXT match between Finn and Karrion Kross was great to watch this year. At number 8, we have a recent tag team match, a triple threat tag team match from an episode of SmackDown, which I reviewed a couple of weeks back, between the Usos, the New Day, and RK Bros, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. This was on an episode of SmackDown a couple of weeks back in Staples Center, Los Angeles, and it was a match where RK Bro were the favorites to win, But the second best scenario is that it was actually New Day that would win the match, pinning the Usos. And that was very important because on day one, in the beginning of 2022, the Usos will face the New Day and write another chapter in an amazing rivalry that they've had in the past. But in that match, it was the New Day that would win that triple threat match. And that great match made it number 8 on this list. At number 7, we have NXT War Games from the men's division. The women's division of the War Games was good too, especially with Cora Jade's winning that match with one arm. And Io Shirai is a doctor. But either way, the men's match was absolutely amazing. But it set the tone for some new rivalries, including the one with Pete Dunne and who's that Italian guy's name? I keep forgetting. The one that broke his hand and stole his tooth brace. But either way, it was an amazing match. I'm glad, looking back on the character that he plays now, I'm glad. No, he didn't miss him. Did he miss it? Darn it. No, he didn't. He didn't miss it. I'm talking about Grayson Waller when he delivered a moonsault onto the table. And I reviewed NXT War Games, by the way, if you haven't seen it already, but most of you have, I'm sure. But either way, I thought War Games was an amazing match, and it was a match that Braun Breaker would win for his team by pinning NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa. Also, fun fact, we saw Johnny Gargano return with his Rebel Heart theme, which I thought was awesome, but that was his last match to our knowledge because he's a father now. So congratulations to those two. And of course, after that, Grayson Waller would become the most despised man. I think the only person in wrestling that is more despised than Grayson Waller from a scripted standpoint is MJF. But nonetheless, NXT War Games was awesome. At number 6, we have a match from NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 2. An unsanctioned match between Adam Cole, Bebe, and Kyle O'Reilly. Because Adam Cole had recently turned against all members of the Undisputed Era, including Kyle O'Reilly. But because of that, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole fought at NXT Stand and Deliver Night 2, and I really enjoyed that match. I also enjoyed watching them throw themselves through the floor of the entryway. That was something. But it was Adam Cole, no, it was Kyle O'Reilly who would get the victory that night. And not just get a victory, but in that rivalry, he would win the rivalry because he got a victory and then Adam Cole would get a victory on an episode of NXT. But it wasn't until NXT TakeOver 35 or 36, I believe, where Kyle O'Reilly would defeat Adam Cole in a 3 stages of hell match. But thankfully, they have reconciled their differences down in AEW. Both men are now a part of AEW with Bobby Fish, Adam Cole, and Kyle O'Reilly. Roderick Strong is a part of Diamond Mine in NXT 2.0. But the other 3 members of the Undisputed Era are in AEW, of course. But nonetheless, that match was awesome. The unsanctioned match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole before they reconciled and went to AEW. Check that out. At number 5, we go to the ladies again. And this was a match between, it was a SmackDown versus Raw match at Survivor Series, which I reviewed Survivor Series of this year. Some of you have also seen that. This was a match between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. 2 well-known rivals who have fought for a very long time. And now they continued their rivalry at this year's Survivor Series. And it was a classic. Even though it ended with Becky Lynch cheating And let's be honest, they both tried to out-cheat each other. But nonetheless, Survivor Series 2021, Charlotte versus Becky, great match. Another match between two amazing women comes in at number 4. We have Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 35, Night 1. That one is at near the top of my women's matches of this year because it was so historic. For the first time ever, two African American women would main event a WrestleMania. Now, 2 years prior to this year, Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair were the first of women to main event a WrestleMania, period. But this year we made history, and that would be put in wrestling, will be able to put that as part of Black History Month, to have Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks go at it, two amazing African American women putting on a classic and ending off night 1 at WrestleMania. And let's not forget how Bianca Belair held Sasha Banks up in midair and walked up the stairs into the ring while holding her the entire time. I bet you Bianca would make an amazing waitress, because waitresses have to look good holding stuff with one hand, just doing all of this. She carried a human being up the stairs. And of course, Sasha was out for a while after that because of her hair, which Bianca used to hit Sasha in the ribs, would push Sasha out of action for a couple of months, should I say. But nonetheless, a great match, and those two went on to have a great rivalry this year. I really enjoyed it. At number 3, we have Edge versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell at Crown Jewel earlier this year also. Let me tell you something. Those Seth and Edge had an amazing rivalry this year, which picked up as their chance to avenge, to pick up on an issue that happened in 2014, but now it came back because Roman Reigns and Edge faced off at Money in the Bank, and Seth Rollins ruined it for Edge. So Edge fought Seth at SummerSlam, which I reviewed, and Edge won. And then in Madison Square Garden, Seth Rollins, on an episode of SmackDown, September 10th, defeated Edge and put him out of action for a little bit. But Edge returned after Seth went into his house. And this had to end inside Hell in a Cell. It was a great match. Both men brought their best moves, and I really was worried that Edge was going to lose because Seth had super kicked him, and was about to curve stomp him with a chain stuffed to his boot. But Edge came back, and it was great. I forgot what I was going to say, but Edge came back, and it was an amazing match, and it ended that rivalry. Edge settled it, and after all these years, and after all the years of going through Hollywood, because when Edge retired, he became an actor. But who knew Edge would grow his hair back and come back to doing what he originally loved to do best? It was awesome. That match, totally the best. My next two involve this guy. At number 2, we have Roman Reigns versus John Cena at SummerSlam 2021. Great match. And I want to get you guys' feedback on a question, because I'm struggling with this inside of me. Which match was better, SummerSlam 2021 or No Mercy 2017? They both were amazing. Which one did you think was better? I know one thing. I never thought I would see John Cena as a complete fan favorite, but we did see it. And it happened this year. Cena sucks. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks. There was a moment while the contract between Roman and Finn Balor was being signed, fans were chanting for Cena. Whoever thought they would chant for Cena over in a match where Cena was not even present. That it's almost like the underworld froze over. But John Cena, Roman Reigns at SummerSlam was a great match. I really enjoyed that. Check it out. Before I reveal my number one favorite match from this year, let me give you a couple of honorable mentions. December Monday Night Raw, December 6th, Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. And I'm really loving the push that Liv Morgan is getting, by the way. So Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan in his last episode of Friday Night SmackDown earlier this year. Also, we have Roman Reigns versus Edge from Money in the Bank. Then you have um, Big E winning the Money in the Bank ladder match, etc. So those are my honorable mentions so far. And at number one, we have another honorable mention is the triple threat match at WrestleMania 35 between Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns. At number one, we have Roman Reigns versus Big E Langston, champion versus champion, SmackDown versus Raw match at Survivor Series. Oh my goodness. Becky Lynch and Charlotte versus Charlotte Flair, and this match was two of my favorite matches of that night. Both men brought their best. I also have to say that I really love the push that Big E is getting, not just as WWE champion, but just period. I love the push he is getting, and Big E is main event material, man. This is just so awesome to see him getting his push and being champion, and I hope he retains. And also, I really hope Seth gets well soon enough to be in the match at day one. Speaking of people getting well, I'm so glad to see Jim Ross is back and doing okay. Thank you, Lord. But let's get back to Big E versus Roman Reigns. An amazing match. Let's be honest, a lot of people, most of us had to accept that Roman was going to win because, let's be honest, Roman Reigns has become unbeatable and he has been built as unbeatable. Acknowledge him. So either way, Roman has had, and let me just say this. I mentioned a couple of Roman matches as honorable mentions. Another honorable mention is Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at Royal Rumble. But let me just say this. Roman has had so many great matches. I couldn't fit him all, but he was the guy this year. 2021 was the year of the Roman Empire, and this was another one. Roman versus Big E Langston. That was 5 stars all day long. So, before I leave this channel, I want to ask, what do you think? What do you think about 2021? What was your favorite matchup of this year? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know if I missed something that was not on this list. If you agree with this list, like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know just what was your favorite on this list. If I missed something, tell me what was your favorite, because we all have our different tastes. But for now, that's all the time I have for you today, and I'll be back with another review on all things wrestling, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great day.